George Frederick Samuel Robinson, 1st Marquess of Ripon KG GCSI CIEVDPC, styled Viscount Goderich from 1833 to 1859 and known as the Earl of Ripon in 1859 and as the Earl de Grey and Ripon from 1859 to 1871, was a British politician who served in every Liberal cabinet from 1861 until the year before his death, which took place 48 years later. Background and education. Ripon was born at 10 Downing Street, London, the second son of Prime Minister F. J. Robinson, 1st Viscount Goderich, by his wife Lady Sarah Hobart, daughter of Robert Hobart, 4th Earl of Buckinghamshire. He was educated privately, attending neither school nor college. He was awarded the honorary degree of DCL by Oxford University in 1870. Diplomatic and political career 1852 to 1880. Ripon served on Sir Henry Adler's British Special Mission to the Brussels Conference on the Affairs of Italy during 1848 to 49. Although his father had been a Tory, Ripon was first a Whig and later a Liberal. He entered the House of Commons as member for Hull in 1852. Both he and his party colleague, James Clay, were unseated in 1853 by petition over claims of widespread corruption in their election, of which they were exonerated of any knowledge. He was returned for Huddersfield later in 1853 and the West Riding of Yorkshire in 1857. In 1859 he succeeded his father as 2nd Earl of Ripon, taking his seat in the House of Lords, and later that year succeeded his uncle in the more senior title of Earl de Grey, becoming known as the Earl de Grey and Ripon. He was Under-Secretary of State for War under Lord Palmerston between 1859 and 1861 and 1861 and 1863 and briefly Under-Secretary of State for India in 1861. In 1863 he was made a Privy Councillor and Secretary of State for War under Palmerston, with a seat in the Cabinet. He retained this office when Lord Russell became Prime Minister on Palmerston's death in 1865, and then served under Russell as Secretary of State for India between February and June 1866. In Gladstone's first administration he was Lord President of the Council. During this period he acted as chairman of the Joint Commission for drawing up the Treaty of Washington with the United States over the Alabama claims. For this, in 1871 he was created Marquess of Ripon in the County of York. He had already been made a Knight of the Garter in 1869. In 1878 he served as President of the first day of the Cooperative Congress, Viceroy of India 1880 to 1884. When Gladstone returned to power in 1880 he appointed Ripon Viceroy of India, an office he held until 1884. During his time in India, Ripon introduced legislation that would have granted native Indians more legal rights, including the right of Indian judges to judge Europeans in court. Though progressive in its intent, this legislation was gutted by the British Parliament, which did not want to lose its legal superiority. He was also instrumental in supporting Dietrich Brandis to reorganize the Madras Forest Department and expand systematic forest conservancy in India. He is still revered in Chennai, India as Ripon Engelappan, meaning Ripon our father. The Corporation of Chennai's Ripon building was named for him, as well as the town of Riponpet in the Shivamogga district in the state of Karnataka. In Kolkata, the Ripon Street was named for him. The Ghantagar Multin, a clock tower of Multan in Pakistan, was named Ripon Building, and Hall of same building was named Ripon Hall. Political career 1884 to 1908. Lord Ripon also became a supporter of Home Rule for Ireland. In Gladstone's 1886 government he was First Lord of the Admiralty, and in the government of 1892 to 1895 he was Secretary of State for the Colonies. When the Liberals again returned to power in 1905 under Sir Henry Campbell Bannerman, he took office, aged 78, as Lord Privy Seal and leader of the House of Lords. In 1908, he declined to remain as Lords leader when H. Asquith became Prime Minister in April, and he resigned as Lord Privy Seal in October. As noted by Neil Smith, Ripon's liberalism had roots in the mid-19th century, but his political views shifted with the times. Quote, according to Smith, he was greatly interested in labor questions, deeply sympathetic to labor aspirations, and believed the state might interfere with wages and that the state had a duty to deal with unemployment. Other appointments. Lord Ripon was President of the Royal Geographical Society during 1859–60, and Trustee of the National Gallery. Lord Ripon also held many positions in the public life in Yorkshire. In 1860 he was appointed Honorary Colonel of the 1st Volunteer Battalion of the Prince of Wales's own regiment, and later awarded the Volunteer Decoration. In 1863 High Steward of the Borough of Hull, and from 1873 to 1906 was Lord Lieutenant of the North Riding of Yorkshire. He was a Deputy Lieutenant and JP for the counties of Lincolnshire and the West Riding of Yorkshire, JP for the Liberty of Ripon, and served as Mayor of Ripon in 1895–96. Lord Ripon was a Freemason, who served as Provincial Grand Master of the West Riding and Deputy Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England from 1861 to 1869, and ultimately as Grand Master from 1870 until his conversion to Catholicism in 1874, following which he was generous in supporting Catholic educational and charitable works. He was President of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul from 1899 until his death, and a great supporter of St. Joseph's Catholic Missionary Society. He was also Chancellor of the University of Leeds from 1904 until his death in 1909. Family. Lord Ripon married his cousin Henrietta and Theodosia Viner, daughter of Henry Viner, and his wife Lady Mary Gertrude Robinson, daughter of Thomas Robinson, 2nd Earl de Grey, on 8 April 1851. They had one son and one daughter. Lady Ripon died in February 1907, aged 73. Lord Ripon survived her by 2 years and died of heart failure at Studley Royal Park in July 1909, aged 81. He was buried at St Mary's, Studley Royal, and was succeeded by his only son, Frederick. Styles of address. 1827 to 1833. The Hon. George Frederick Samuel Robinson. 1833 to 1852. Viscount Goderich. 1852 to 1853. Viscount Goderich MP. 1853. Viscount Goderich. 1853 to 1859. Viscount Goderich MP. 1859. The RT Hon. The Earl of Ripon. 1859 to 1860. The RT Hon. The Earl de Grey and Ripon. 1860 to 1863. The RT Hon. The Earl de Grey and Ripon VD. 1863 to 1869. The RT Hon. The Earl de Grey and Ripon VD PC. 1869 to 1871. The RT Hon. The Earl de Grey and Ripon KGVD PC. 1871 to 1880. The Most Hon. The Marquess of Ripon KGVD PC. 1880 to 1884. His Excellency the Most Hon. The Marquess of Ripon KG GCSI CIEVD PC. 1884 to 1909. The Most Hon. The Marquess of Ripon KG GCSI CIEVD PC.